I have the honor of introducing our guest speaker for today. Not only is he a man that we all look up to because he's president of our board, but he is also one heck of a hard worker. And let me tell you, I have seen this man in the ditches. I have seen him cutting down trees, tearing up sidewalks. He gets right in there with the rest of us. He also can tell a good joke here and there too. So he is also a certified medium here in the camp, and I would like you in helping me welcome Reverend Jerry Moore to the platform.
So we're always looking for volunteers. I am so glad to see you here this morning. After the last 2 weeks have been kind of a challenge for so many of us. So many people have been personally affected by the Hurricane Helene and of course Hurricane Milton. And our best hopes and good wishes, of course, go to having everyone experience a speedy recovery and return to normality. And despite all you've had to deal with and all of those challenges, we appreciate you being here today. Having said all of that, having lived through the last 2 weeks that we have and all of those difficulties, it's amazing how the little things, the simple things, can bring us joy, like a hot shower. Yeah. I enjoyed mine yesterday. That was nice. Now, please understand that I don't bring this up to make light of the extreme circumstances that so many people have been through in the last few weeks, but it is simply to say that when we go through harsh experiences, it's easier for us to appreciate those small nuggets of joy that are there for us to observe if we choose to. I'll tell you a little story. The morning after Hurricane Milton passed Cassadaga, I was riding around in my car observing to see if there were any overnight damage to the houses here in the camp. And I reached the intersection of Cassadaga Road with Chauncey. And I looked down Cassadaga Road and I saw a deer in the middle of the road, motionless. And as I watched, he seemed to be looking at the road sign that was right next to him of a deer. And all I could think of was, is that deer looking at that picture on the sign, you know, I really don't think that picture is a good likeness of me. So I guess I'll never really hear the answer to that question, but I was amused for the moment looking and seeing that deer pause. I think joy is like that, though. It lasts for a moment, and then it is fleeting. So many of us expect happiness and joy to be a constant, ongoing experience. But that's not the way I've experienced it. Joy is not like one continuous banquet of good times. Joy is more like dessert, that fleeting feeling that is a reward for engaging in life and accomplishing something meaningful, or just simply enjoying a moment of amusement, such as seeing the deer. Have you ever eaten cotton candy? Joy is a little bit like that, I think. It's really sweet and tasty when you eat it. But you would never expect to live on it full time. But it is a wonderful treat to have periodically and enjoy. And we appreciate it all that much more because we don't have it all of the time. We get to savor it when we do experience it. And it makes it all that much more valuable to us. Joy is like that. It's a dessert. It's not the main course. Many people think of joy as being a thing to be grasped and chased. We expect that when we take the new job, it's going to cure all of the ills that we had with our old job. If we just do X, it will fix everything, and I will experience joy. It's easy to overlook that the ills of the old job were simply a result of how we were looking at it, how we interpreted it. Joy exists as an opportunity to see something different. It is better to approach it as an experience that is allowed to happen than something we are going to make happen. So how do you do that? How do you find that joy button? One way is to open yourself to joy. To open yourself to joy is to expect the unexpected. and to stay curious about life. Do you remember the first time that you went to Disney World or some other amusement park? Imagine for a moment a child visiting such an amusement park for the first time. The child is fascinated by all the new sights and sounds and smells. They are absorbing all the sensory inputs without any preconceived notion about what to expect next. They are completely present in the moment, experiencing pure joy and wonder. They smell new smells, they see new sights, they hear new music, they feel new sensations on the rides that they ride on. And because they've never been to an amusement park before, everything they see, feel, touch, smell is brand new. And it's wondrous to behold. They have no prior experience to compare to. Everything is new. Maybe when the giant costume Mickey Mouse approaches them, they run to it with joy. Or maybe they scream and cry and run back to mother. Either way, it is a response to the incredible amount of new sensory input. And maybe after a time, the child grows tired, and maybe they begin to cry. The parent may think the child is upset, and they decide the child needs to be put to bed. So they leave the amusement park. The child is still crying because it no longer has that sensory input of all the new wondrous things from the amusement park. But it is tired, and it's time to go to sleep. But the child doesn't understand that. But the parents do, and they put the child to bed. The next time the child is taken to the amusement park, the child has memories. The sights and sounds and smells are not unfamiliar. And so they go with the expectation that they get to do new things. And this time they don't tire as easily. This time it may seem there is more excitement to the child. They want to explore more things. And this time it's the parents' turn to become tired and cranky. Being open and accepting of new experiences and what they may teach us and how they expand us allows for greater recognition of joy. When we went to the amusement park as either a child or as an adult, did we learn it was exploratory and enjoyment? Or did we learn that somebody is going to end up being tired and cranky? And how did that experience imprint us for how we deal with future new experiences as either a child or an adult? How much of that are we carrying forward without realizing it? As an adult, we often feel we should know how to deal with just about every situation, or we expect ourselves to. If the situation really is identical or nearly identical to what has happened before, that would make for a very boring life. In that case, since nothing is really new, there is nothing unique or interesting to look forward to. Maybe we can learn something from that child who goes to the amusement park for the first time. And that is to approach life with a similar sense of childlike wonder and exploration, allowing ourselves to be surprised by the unexpected and to feel like it's okay to be surprised, because that is something to explore. That is something for us to be curious about. That is something to discover more about. As an adult, we are often expected to keep things under control. The trick is not to let the situation or outcome rob you of experiencing joy. Accept that joy is fleeting and does not have to be a constant state. It's okay to feel tired or even sad sometimes. These feelings are natural and part of the human experience. So here's an idea. If you find yourself feeling stuck in a negative mindset, try a technique called the reversal. Using this technique, it involves taking a negative thought and turning it into a positive one. For example, if you were writing checks or online sending out payments, instead of thinking, I hate bills, try thinking, I'm grateful that I do have a job that allows me to pay my bills and have a roof over my head. If you're thinking to yourself that you hate your job, it's another opportunity to try the reversal. Try thinking, isn't it a wonderful thing that I do have a job that allows me to feel financially secure? By shifting your perspective, you can find a sense of gratitude and relief even in seemingly mundane tasks. You can even use this technique when reflecting on past events and decisions. I'll give you a quick example. My family moved to Central Florida in 1968. I refer to that as BD, before Disney. But everybody knew at the time that gigantic growth and development was going to take place in Central Florida once Disney World opened in 1971. I remember passing by the intersection of 1792 and 436 in Castleberry. Some of you know that intersection. Back then, you could literally travel, the speed limit was 70 miles an hour to go through that section of highway. It's not that way anymore. But I saw these for sale signs for land there. And I was still a teenager at that time and didn't have that much money, of course. But what I thought of was that would be a great investment with all of the growth that's coming. If you could just buy and hold that land for an amount of time, you could make a killing. If I just had the money, I would do that. I remember that distinctly, having that thought. But looking back, I know that I was not in a position to take advantage of that opportunity. There's no use berating myself for not taking that option back then. It's better to try and look at it from the situation from a different perspective. And thinking about it, perhaps even if I had the money and I did make the investment, maybe I wouldn't have had the patience to hold on to the property long enough to see it get to its full return, its full potential. By doing the reversal, you are essentially choosing to see the silver lining in every situation. And that takes the edge off. It can help you cultivate a more joyful mindset. Another tool is deliberate accusation. This involves looking at a situation that's causing you distress and assuming that the person or people involved have good intentions, even if their actions seem to be harmful. It's more accurate than assuming they intend bad things. For example, let's say somebody cuts you off in traffic. Instead of getting angry, maybe try thinking maybe they're rushing to the hospital and a loved one is there that they want to get to as quickly as possible. Or perhaps they simply made a mistake and they weren't paying attention. You can even have fun with this, make it a game. How many different reasons for their behavior can you come up with? Similarly, if a coworker is constantly criticizing your work, they may have a misguided opinion, but they ultimately want what is best for the company. Accusation can be a difficult way to shift your perspective and open yourself up to joy, not condoning their behavior. You are simply choosing to, not unlike you. This can help you to get understanding. It can also help you see the situation from a different perspective, which can lead to a more creative solution. It does to do harm to us. However, even in these situations, trying to understand their motivations can help you feel less fear and anger. When you can see that even those who cause us harm are acting from a place of pain or fear, it becomes easier to have compassion for them. This does not mean you have to condone their actions or allow yourself to be victimized. It simply means that you can choose to see them as human beings, not monsters. Another tool for finding joy is intuition. What we do here. When you learn to trust your gut, to trust your instincts, you are more likely to make decisions that are in alignment with your true self. However, it's important that you make sure your intuition is not based on fear or on self-defense mechanisms. If you're not sure whether your intuition is accurate, try to look at your life and see if there are any patterns in the decisions you've made. Have the decisions you've made been based on fear that have led to negative outcomes? Have your decisions been based on intuition that have led to more positive outcomes? The more joyful the outcome, the more accurate your intuition. By reflecting on your past experiences, you can begin to develop a better understanding of your own intuition and how you can use it to create more joy. It's also important to let go of regret. We all make mistakes, and it's easy to get caught up in the what ifs and the should haves, especially if you made a decision from a place of fear. However, dwelling on the past will not change anything. Instead, Focus on what you can learn from your mistakes and how you can move forward. Remember that every decision that you make is an opportunity to create something new. And if a decision does not turn out the way you expected, it does not mean that it was a mistake. The only thing you can know for certain is what actually did happen, not what could have happened. You can't know for certain that things would have turned out better if you had made a different decision. Having a sense of purpose can also bring more joy to your life. When you're passionate about something, it gives you a reason to get up in the morning and to keep going when things are tough. Your passion is part of your profit of living on the planet. It can fuel your spirit and help you to see the beauty and the joy in the world around you. If you're not sure what your purpose is, try exploring different activities and hobbies and pay attention to what makes you feel alive and energized. Once you find something that you are passionate about, pursue it with all your heart. It has been said that your passion begins the moment you realize you have started something. And your passion ends with the moment you realize you are not involved in it anymore. The length of time that takes place between these two can be a breath or it can be a lifetime. Remember, effort counts. And when you are passionate about your purpose, the effort will feel less arduous. And remember that joy is not something that can be forced or controlled. It is a gift that comes from accepting life as it is and allowing yourself to be present in the moment. When you let go of your expectations and surrender to the flow of life, you open yourself up to the possibility of experiencing joy in even the most unexpected places. Embrace the ups as well as the downs, the challenges and the triumphs, knowing that they are all part of our journey. And remember, joy is always available if you are willing to let it in. To feed your spirit, expect surprise. Expect the possibility of new experiences, and don't let fear hold you back. By practicing these tools, you can cultivate more joy in your life and approach each day with a renewed sense of hope and purpose. Remember, you are not alone on this journey. The world is full of beauty and wonder, and there is always something to be grateful for. Choose to see the good, and joy will find you. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry. I think we all kind of needed to hear a bit of that. During our musical interlude,